Good morning and welcome back to the farm. If you remember yesterday we started to demolish the house. We took out the attic before 8 o'clock came. We set up our chickens so we could have eggs. Nothing here this morning. They don't need to be cleaned up, so we'll get on with demolishing the rest of the house. Now if you're wondering why they're sat on top of the coop and you haven't seen the previous video, the reason for that is the fact that the camera angle into the coop can be very, very awkward at times. So by putting them on the top, they never fall down, they never jump off, so that we're safe to leave them there. Just collect the eggs off the top of the coop, clean up the remains that they leave behind when they've eaten, and it's so much easier, so much quicker, and you don't have to worry about them disappearing on you and running away halfway up the farm. So we're back in the house right now. I've chosen our demolish mode and we're going to carry on doing this. Oh, gotta get the wallpaper first, obviously. Once this is done, we will go on to the ground floor or the first floor, depending on where you live, obviously. Get that demolished and see how much left of the day we've got. Some of these videos you'll probably think are very boring, because like I said right at the very start, I am going to document each day at the farm, regardless of whether it's a busy day or just a day of sorting things out. Like here, while we're demolishing the house, most people would just say this is how you do it and then squash the video or skip right to the end. But I don't want to do that, not because I can't do it or I'm lazy. It's purely because I know in June everything's going to change and I want to be able to look back and see exactly what it was we did, when we did it, and how we did it, so that we can then compare new with old and possibly discuss whether things that they may have changed should have been left as they were, or whether we can further improve if they have improved the program for whatever reason. We, like I said in the last video, at the moment can only make buildings in set places with set dimensions, so that is all changing in June and we will lose our save games. So I'm doing a day by day blog type thing, I suppose you could say, with the game, so that we can see exactly how it's changed and let the devs know whether we feel it's a better change or a worse change, or even be able to improve on a change, maybe. So bear with me while I carry on demolishing the house. I will try to do it as quickly as I can. I'm hoping that to get it done before the end of the day today, but we'll see how it goes. Take that wall down. We've only got the chickens at the moment. Once all the quests are done, we should have enough money to buy, hopefully, at least one cow, one pig, some extra feed for all the animals, and then get on with what we really came here to do, and that's farm. I suppose I'm enjoying the game so much because it does remind me a little bit of my childhood. My parents both had arable crops, which are fruit and vegetables and plants for the gardens. They used to grow seedlings for people's yards and boxes, that sort of thing. They also had animals, which we fattened up, which is what we intend to do with the pigs in this game. Fatten them up, turn them into sausage meat, etc., and sell that to the farmers. Eggs, of course, we will be selling to the shop in the early stages and then use them for cooking later on. The cows, I found in previous runs of the game that there is really no point in turning them into meat because you don't get any profit back from it. All your profit from the cows is more likely to come from milk being turned into cheese, and I will explain more about that once we get the cheese and a few other ingredients as to why I decided to do things the way I've done them. It's more a case of how much profit do you want, when do you want it, and how are we going to get that profit. That's what I should be looking at as far as the produce side of things go with the animals, but I will give you more details once we start processing the milk. Vehicles, I'm not going to rush to get another vehicle. That for me right now is an expense that we can avoid. The truck that we've been given, I know for a fact a cow won't fit in it, so rather than rush to get money to get a bigger vehicle to transport the cow in, what I shall do is lasso it and walk it back to the farm. It's not very far, doesn't take very long. That way then we save money, means we can buy more animals, get more profit going quicker. And this is very nearly the ground floor demolished. Once the house is demolished, I think that is the end of the quests that they've supplied us with so far, and we're free to do as we please at that point, which is where the gameplay really starts. By now you'll have got used to all the controls. There is an option to go hunting with your pistol, gun and the ammo, but again I found that produce is more profitable. With the hunting, you've got to go find the animals, you've got to use your vehicle to find them, so you're using petrol. That's going to cost you money, you have to replace it. It will also mean that you're using your ammo, which you will have to replace. We'll look at the cost of that the next time we visit the shop, and I'll explain why I've chosen not to do hunting. It's also just, if people don't like to play shoot 'em games, because technically this is a farming game, not a shoot 'em up. If you don't like to play that sort of game, you don't have to in here. We can make more than enough money and sit comfortably on the farm without having to chase down wild animals, kill them and process their meat. Pigs will do that for us more than enough. I find that it's a lot easier, a lot safer than trying to deal with wild animals. Now we're almost there. Take down these railings and that. Coming up the front of the house now, so that once the front is done we can step down, clear the foundations of the building, and then we can rebuild the new house. I will skip through most of the pictures because a lot of the buildings we can't afford, or they're not actually in game yet. There's just a preview of what we may be getting in June, hopefully. There is only one option that we can buy at this stage, early in the game. You can buy others later on, or when you make the money if you wish to. it will give you, I've noticed, more storage space, more options for your drying racks for your foods when you've made them. But again, we'll go through all that once we get there. Just trying, while I'm demolishing this, give you a heads up as to what's going to come in the future episodes. Having played the game a few times, I've got a bit further than this, obviously. I haven't got to the point where I've bought every item that I can. I wanted to start the videos and kind of play it up to a certain point where I can give you some advice, and then it's just a matter of blogging what I do between now and June for when the new update comes, and then we'll explore it together. Brand new. See what differences there are. Really looking forward to it. Normally I would say I hate games doing updates and changing things because you got used to doing things a certain way, and then all of a sudden they change it all, and you as a old player have to try and get used to new options instead, whereas somebody who's coming along after an update, not knowing what came previously, finds it a lot easier, I think, sometimes to pick things up. Alright, clear all the rubbish off the floor. I'm hoping that at some point in the future, maybe the devs will decide that we can recycle this wood in some way on the farm, or have a quest where there's maybe a recycling plant that we can take the rubbish to. No, I've left a few items on. See, this is what I mean by demolishing. Can't get rid of that until we've got rid of the rubbish on top. So I'm going to have to jump up there now, because I've got rid of the stairs. That bit there, and the foundations. Now that's taking us till 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so we're not going to have a lot of time. We will be able to build the house, which is what we do now, and that's our next quest. Like I say, special offer, we don't have the money for that. That one's not available, or that one, or that one. That's at 4,500, but we don't have enough. Don't have enough for that one either. That one's not available. That's the one we can build. So we're going to build that. And as you can see, because it was set in a certain place, we've got no option. We can't move it closer to the shed. But we now have this blue framework. Now this is where we need to put planks. So we've actually got to build our own house. The picture only shows us what it's going to look like once it's done. So we go back to normal mode, and we see over here 2 icons. It's telling us to go and find the sawmill by the looks of it. So we'll run down and see what we got down here. Oh, let's pick up a log. There we go. Take that down here. And this is the sawmill. Now, it's petrol driven, so we need the petrol, obviously. It's empty, that's why the grey bar across the top. So we'll go back and pick up our jerry can where we left it. That's the green icon. If you notice, the quest on the left, the notes shows you the green box donates the green jerry can. The wood log was what we picked up, the orange one, and now the red one in the distance is where we saw the table saw, and we're going to process a log. I'll do the first one and then we'll concentrate on doing it all in one go. So that's filled that up. We take that one off, put it over there for now. You grab the log, you line it up so you've got the white outline, and then you can install the log. Comes out the other end, as 2 planks. So we turn that off, and then you can take those 2 planks, run up to the house. Here we go. And if we tried to go up, we can't because we haven't built the steps outside. So the first thing we're going to do is build those steps. And obviously we can walk through these invisible lines, but once you put a plank in, it becomes solid. So you can't walk, see, we can walk through the stairs. And if I back up and now put those planks in, we can no longer walk through it. We have to go up it. So, big tip here, when you're building a building like this, again, build the stairs up to the top as far as you can go, then build from the top down, and from the back to the front, if your sawmill is out the front, purely so that you're not having to try and angle the planks through the doors. You can just walk through the invisible barriers. Now, because I need a lot of logs, what I'm going to do is take the basket off of there, jump in the van, back it up, and if you remember, I said I was going to clear some trees towards the back road down here. So this is the route I want to take down here roughly. So I'm going to jump out, take down the tailgate, because with the tailgate up the logs won't fit, but if we take the tailgate down, we can then put the logs, line it up nicely in the back of the van like that. Which means instead of running one log to the sawmill, then coming back and fetching another one, we can load the van up, take the van straight to the sawmill, and load them, offload them at the sawmill, and then process them, put the planks in the van, and take that up to the house, so that we're only running from the van to the house as opposed to the sawmill to the house and back again. You can place them one on top of another like that, so it's not a case of just 4 in the bottom and take them away. I don't know how many we're going to need, but we'll clear the path like I said, load all the logs. What we don't use here, we may very well use for the barn if we get that far before June, or we may use to make a small fence just by stacking them up like this. You can do this exactly the same on the ground, and they'll make a small fence that you can't walk through, that the animals can't walk through, and it also means that the wildlife can't get through the fence either. So if you put animals one side, they are safe from the wildlife, thankfully. Does mean that you would have to build some sort of step process for you to get up and over the wall, because you won't be able to get through either. We'll do this tree, and then we'll go and see how far that gets us with the house, because we've only got a couple of hours before the end of the day. And like I said, I was going to do each video in 1 day chunks, so you can see exactly how long it takes me, how many days it takes me to do set quests or process something. And here we go, off to the sawmill. Oh. It's down over here. Sometimes the camera angle does mess with you a little bit, but it's not too bad. We'll swing round that way, and then we can back it up. Come on. Oh. What is going on here? The camera's not being nice to me. Oh. Come on. And like I said, I said I was going to play this with all the flaws, all the mistakes I make, everything. So even my bad driving. There you go. So we'll drop these down here very quickly so that we don't have to run to and fro the sawmill. We can just literally stand by the sawmill, save fuel, because the generator's running regardless of whether you're using a plank of wood, making a plank of wood or not. It still uses the fuel because it's still running. So if you can stand here and feed the machine quickly, you'll use less fuel, have to top it up even less, and then in the long run it may only save you 1 or 2 coins, but if you do that every day, it will soon add up at the end of the year, which will probably get you a new cow. So that's all the logs offloaded. Now we've got half an hour before the end of the day, so we will turn that on and see how far we can get. Is it turned on? Yes. There we go. See, and while that one's doing, we can set up for the next one. And it is literally just a process of feeding them through. The new one will push the planks off the end, and we can hopefully get most of these done before the end of the day. It does start getting dark about 7 o'clock, so we will literally take it right up till 8 PM, and then I shall go and save the game off and we'll start fresh from the morning. We've got 1 more minute. That's our day gone. I will pop that one in, turn that off, and head. We won't take the van with us. We'll leave it here so that I can drive it straight out later on. And the orange icon is to build the house. So that's the end of day 2 on the farm. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.